The restaurant was alive with the gentle hum of conversation, the clinking of glasses, and the low notes of a piano drifting from the corner. John Kennedy sat across from his wife, Becky, enjoying what was supposed to be a rare, quiet evening away from politics, away from the cameras, away from the storm of Washington. It was their anniversary, a night meant to be filled with laughter, memories, and the simple joy of each other's company. But that night would take a turn no one in the room would ever forget. It began innocently enough. The waiter approached, menus in hand, and before John could even glance up, he noticed something in the man's eyes, a flash of arrogance, almost disdain. As Becky politely asked a question about the dish of the day, the waiter smirked and cut her off mid-sentence. "Maybe just stick to something simple, ma'am," he said, his tone dripping with condescension, as though she were incapable of understanding the menu. The people at the next table noticed, their eyes narrowing, waiting to see what would happen next. Becky, ever graceful, gave a soft smile, but her hands tightened around her napkin. John saw it, the quiet humiliation of a woman who deserved nothing but respect. Still, she tried to brush it off, leaning closer to him and whispering, "It's fine, John. Don't make a scene." But then it happened again. When the waiter returned to take their order, Becky asked if the dish could be prepared without certain spices, explaining she had allergies. The man rolled his eyes and chuckled loudly enough for surrounding tables to hear. "Allergies, huh? Sure you're not just being difficult?" His words hung in the air like smoke, and the room grew uncomfortably silent. A few people gasped softly. Others looked down at their plates, unwilling to be caught in the middle of the tension. Becky's cheeks flushed red, and her eyes dropped to the tablecloth. John Kennedy's heart burned. He was a man known for his sharp wit in the Senate, for his ability to dismantle the arrogance of fellow politicians with a single line, but this was different. This was personal. This was his wife. He sat back slowly in his chair, eyes never leaving the waiter. The room could feel it, the shift in the air, the way John's silence spoke louder than words. When he finally did speak, his voice was calm, but it carried the weight of a hammer. "You know," John said, leaning forward, his southern drawl cutting through the tension, "I've spent a good part of my life dealing with people who think they're the smartest in the room. And do you know what I've learned?" He paused, letting the silence stretch. The waiter froze, tray in hand, eyes darting nervously. "It's usually the folks who have to tear others down that reveal just how small they really are." A murmur rippled through the restaurant. John wasn't raising his voice. He didn't need to. His words had a force of their own. Becky looked at him, her eyes shining with a mixture of surprise and pride.